What's up, everybody? Matt Hospodar, the prospecting geologist here, and today we are going to go over how to make your own maps using LiDAR and basically how to go into doing that with the various free GIS programs that are out there, as well as all the free LiDAR DEM data that is out there. And then you can make these maps for gold prospecting, metal detecting, historical stuff. I mean, there's so many uses for the DEM maps that you can make using this. So today we are going to focus mainly on, I just kind of picked a random gold belt in the U.S. We're going to look at Coker Creek, Tennessee. So obviously you're going to need Google Earth Pro, QGIS, and Saga GIS. And I will provide links for all these in the description of the video below. And then the best place to get this data is called the National Map Download. If you just type that into Google, it's the first thing that pops up right here, TNM Download V2. And we're going to click on that. And this is what you will see be brought up. So first thing we're going to do is download the data for this area. So what we're going to do is over on the left here, you'll see Elevation Products 3DEP. You click that, deselect everything that is in here that is already selected, and then go to where it says 1 meter DEM. And select that and hit show. And this is the 1 meter vertical accuracy LiDAR data that's already been converted to a digital elevation model, DEM. And that's the main information we're going to work with. And this map of the US with all the shaded areas is everywhere that has 1 meter DEM data available. So for this, we're going to zoom in on Coker Creek area in Tennessee. So we're right in here. See Coker Creek, Hiwassee River, Hiawassee. I don't know how you say that. But basically, this is the area we want. So then what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and hit search products. And it's going to search for the DEM data that's right in our screen here. And then you'll see the various footprints pop up. Or you'll see these, and you want to find the correct footprint that covers our area, which is going to be Coker Creek Valley through here. Is covering the bottom part there. It's going to take a little bit to find it, it looks like, for some reason. It's not covering that area immediately. Mainly because I think we're on the split between North Carolina and Tennessee, so that is why. So we want that footprint. Oop, maybe not actually. Interesting. Oh wait, yeah, we want that one. Not that one, not that one. So that looks like our main piece right there. Most of the other stuff, I don't know why. And we probably want this one here. So we'll download those two. So you're going to download both of these. Download. Save as. Make a file just on your desktop or somewhere else wherever you want to save these as. I just made one on the desktop called Make Your Own LiDAR Maps. So we'll save that one there. Remove that footprint. And then where's the other one? And then download that TEF file and hit save as and save. And then it sometimes will take a little bit because it's a lot of data. We'll get those pulled over into our folder first. And then what we're going to do is we need to download the most recent or up-to-date versions of both QGIS and Saga. And I'm going to update mine as well, so we go through this same process basically together and have the same exact ones right now. So basically, I will provide the link for QGIS in the things below. But even if you just type in QGIS into Google, this should be the main landing page, and you're going to want to go to this download now. And then you're going to want to look and what you want is the most stable release. So I wouldn't do the download 3.32 right now. I would do the download 3.28, as that is the most stable version. And then go open. It's going to take a little bit. So we will pause here while that downloads, since it's saying it wants to take 7 or 8 minutes to download because it's also a very large program. Okay, so now that we got QGIS downloaded, let's go over to Saga GIS here. Once again, I'll put the links in the description below, or you can just Google Saga GIS, and this should be the first one that comes up. But we're going to go over to downloads here. And it looks like we are going to be doing Saga 9. Download latest version, Saga 9.2. So we are going to download this one. We'll see how long, if it takes as long as QGIS. We'll pause and come back to it. But you'll want to open the file. Let me see here. Okay, so the Saga runs a little different. You're going to have to download the file, save it to a folder, and then when you want to open it, you come into the folder here, and you go down to where it says Saga GUI, basically the application, and when you double-click on that, that will open it. You can probably save it as an icon on your desktop as well, but this is going to be Saga 9.2.0. So now that we got both of those downloaded, you should already have Google Earth Pro downloaded. I'm not going to go over that. Pretty much everybody should have that. We already got the files downloaded here of the Coker Creek area. These should, once again, be at the bottom here, you see download link TIF. That's what you should be downloading on these here. So now we'll start with going through with Saga GIS to make the KML file, which is basically the overlay for Google Earth, which I find to be one of the best uses of Saga. So we have Saga GIS here already open. This is once again 9.2. You're going to go over to File, down to Grid and Load, and you are going to want to open wherever you saved that file, and I put it on the desktop here. Select both and open. Those are going to take a little bit. There we go. We're going to have this set up as manager over here with data. So now we see both of these. Now, usually the easiest thing to do from here is you want to merge these two tiles, because right now they're two separate tiles. So if you leave them as that, you will have to alter each one individually, whereas if we merge them, then they become one and they're easier to work with in general. So you're going to go to geoprocessing, to grid, down to grid system, and then over to mosaicing, which is basically taking like a mosaic tile and like turning it into one. That's my idea of it. So then you're going to click on the grids where it says no objects currently. Click on the 3 dots on the far right here. That will bring up the 2 that you have. Pull them both over. Hit OK. Everything else should be good in there. So we're going to hit OK. And that is now running the mosaicing. You see a green bar go across there, and it shouldn't take too long. There, now we got our mosaic. So this is, we got some missing data in there, but we'll make it work for now. There's another file within the national map download that would fill in this piece right there. But we'll make it work with what we got for now, for just the demonstration purposes. So now this is just the base DEM. I mean, you technically, I guess, could use it, but it's not the most usable in this form. What we want to do, it's generally turn it into a hillshade. Saga GIS does not call it that, though. So now what we're going to do is go down to you're going to go to geoprocessing, visualization, over to grid, and then down to what they call terrain map view, which is basically hillshade. Then you want to go grid system over to the right here where there's a drop down menu. You're going to want to click on the bottom one, which should then, when you go to DEM and over and click the arrow down, you'll have Mosaic then. So you click that. You can put contours on this for whatever you want, whether it be 10, 5, 10, 5, whatever iteration of numbers you want for actual contour levels or intervals. We're going to turn that off because that makes everything run a little slower. So now that we got all that, we are going to hit OK. And now it's going to think a little bit. Thinking. And there is our, basically our hillshade. Which you can then zoom in on if you want to for here. Zoom around and find some mining features. They're on here somewhere. There's definitely some. There's definitely some mining features right in there. Going up some of these side streams. Oh, yep, there's some diggings into the hillsides. This looks like all placer workings. Placer. More placer. Placer and looking into hard rock. So, I mean, it's pretty useful with what you can see. Now, let's see if we can actually get this whole area put onto Google Earth. It may be too large. I'm not sure yet. So go and select, and now you see it is pulling it up and automatically loading it into the correct spot on Google Earth, which is just, I love that. You don't have to go around and try and place it in the correct spot by matching terrain features and stuff. That can get rather difficult. So the fact that it just automatically overlays it already GPS coordinate tagged and everything from the LiDAR data is fantastic. She's definitely taking her good old time here, though. Okay, so we're going to have to go back to the table here because it is too large of an area and it is not loading. So now what we're going to do, instead of going where we're viewing the entire active layer, we're going to view just like this upper northern part here. And get it centered up. And then once again, because it's going to pull what's in the window within its working area, basically. So then we're going to go to export map to Google Earth again. And then we want to go cell size as 1. And hit OK again. And hopefully it actually works this time. This is a pretty large area to be pulling, so that's part of the issue here. Okay, so there we go. It loaded up correctly into the area. It's smaller, but that's kind of what you have to do, otherwise it won't load. So now, I mean, the nice thing is with overlaying this on Google Earth is that you can zoom in and see all the roadways. You can put in the old mines and all that. So this cluster of workings right here that we can see is the Hollinghead Field placer workings. But the interesting, once again, that what LiDAR always helps with is, while it may show these like discrete mines, this whole stretch of Coker Creek was mined. So now, was it part of that mine or this mine, or was it just its own thing? I don't know. It's hard to say. That gets into more in-depth details on like analyzing LiDAR and stuff. But you can see there's this whole cluster of mine locations here, unnamed shafts, adits, and you can see them on the LiDAR here. And these locations are not 100% correct. Obviously, the MRDS system is good. It gets you close, but usually it is not 100%. LiDAR will put you right on the dot pretty much. So that's basically how you then make a Google Earth overlay from Saga GIS. Super useful tool. I use it all the time. And yeah, it's definitely a very, very useful tool. Now, there is another tool within Saga GIS here that we can kind of jump into real quick, and it's another one that I use commonly and then also do the same way to overlay into Google Earth, but it's under terrain analysis, geoprocessing, terrain analysis, morphometry, and down to terrain roughness index. And then you're going to, once again, grid system over to the right, down arrow, to this part here, which should be the Mosaic. And then once again, you want to run this on the original Mosaic, not the Hillshade Mosaic. Click that. Then we got create. Should be good. Hit run. Take a little bit. Now, the Hillshade is one thing to figure out on what you're looking at. The terrain roughness index is a little more difficult, but it gives you more defined features in some ways. I use both depending on what I'm looking for and just to get different views of it almost. So here's what the terrain roughness index looks like. And basically what it is doing is saying red is steep, blue is flat. And as you zoom in, though, like it'll show you the small cuts and fills as red is steep, blue is flat. So it can, where's some of our workings at? I may turn this into another overlay again so we can take a look. Okay, so here's some of our mine stuff. So you can see blue is flat, red is steep. So it's a steeper hillside there, but then you see these workings, these are old mine workings right here, show up more prominently because they have steep walls along this trench and stuff. So this is mine workings in here. It's a useful tool, the terrain roughness index, something to look at and figure out. It's a little more difficult to figure out exactly what you're looking at sometimes. Like there's some workings right there, definitely. But then you can do the same thing and you can go in and go export map to Google Earth. I'm not going to go through it right now. Does the same thing, still has the same limitations on if you try and do too large of a size, either Saga GIS is going to crash, or if it gets through Saga, it won't open in Google Earth if it's too large. Just one of the things. This is part of the reason why I will use apps like CalTopo, which have decent LiDAR, to scan huge areas at one time. And then once I find things of interest, I will generate my own more focused LiDAR that has higher resolution and is better to then do a more in-depth study of a particular area. So that was basically how you do Saga GIS. So now we are going to open up QGIS. So type in, just bring up wherever you saved it. We're looking for QGIS Desktop 3.28. So open that and get her loaded up. This is the long-term release. Should say QGIS 3.28 Fire NZE. Not sure what that means, but they usually have interesting names in that part for some reason. So let it load. Yeah, the names of the QGIS. So the Fire, no idea how to say that, is most likely a city of some sort. Most of them are named after historical cities in Europe and other places, I think. So whatever the name is, that is kind of a city probably in Europe or somewhere else. Okay, so here's your loading out page that'll come up when you open it. You can just kind of exit out all this stuff and get it out of the way. You should have empty project. So from here, you generally want to go over to the left here. You should see this tile piece that looks like a tile of tiles. It is add a raster layer, and that's your DEM files that you downloaded are rasters. So that's what we want to start with here. Let's go there. You're going to want wherever you saved your files at. So this is make your own LiDAR maps. We are just going to pull the northern one this time since there's really no reason to probably pull the southern one. open, and add. And you just see a gray block. Sometimes it shows up differently with a graded color scale and stuff, but sometimes it shows up like this. So now what you want to do is go to raster up here on the top, analysis, over to Hillshade, and open that up. And the one that we need is already in there. We need a vertical exaggeration. This is something you'll have to play with to figure out what's also going to give you the best view, but I generally find for East Coast stuff, 4 or 5 is usually good. The steeper it is, if it's like in a very mountainous area, the less vertical exaggeration. If it's in a very flat area, more vertical exaggeration. And then we need to go the altitude of the light, we need to put to 90. And that is all you should change in here. You can save it to a file if you wish. We are going to run it. And there is our Hillshade from QGIS. These ones, so while it is different than Saga and looks different and gives you, honestly, to me, better resolution. To me, QGIS gives you the best images created out of the DEMs and stuff of any of them. I mean, just look at that. The detail's amazing here. The thing is I generally have a I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it is generally difficult to get it into Saga GIS. These are all plaster workings, but QGIS has an added bonus of you can add your own, almost like Google Earth. So you want to go to QSM. It's called Search QSM kind of here in the bar. And you may have to search for it. But if you just type in like Google Roads and hit add, it will add a Google Roads layer to your map. And then let's zoom out a bit. So now we can see the roads overlaying on this here. You can also do, you can do topographic maps. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's a lot of different features within QGIS with the QSM search and stuff. So you can make your own quasi Google Earth thing here where it's giving you most of the same information. So here I was able to overlay a topo map and you can just simply turn it on and off. You can do the same thing in Google Earth too. Once again, Google Earth is going to be better, particularly for aerial images, though we do have a Bing aerial here. We'll see. Sometimes these work, sometimes they don't. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. So see, you can add in aerial imagery right to this too, and simply turn it on and turn it off over top of it. Which is a very powerful feature in QGIS. So that is very useful, but you can't pull it into Google Earth. I use both for various reasons, and I still find both useful for their own various reasons. Google Earth to me is better for mapping out a whole bunch of stuff all over the place. QGIS is, once again, you're going to be kind of more focused and narrowed in on a certain area where you're making a map or something, which QGIS can make very nice maps for you to then print out, which I think we should probably do in another video about these programs and everything. But yeah, look at you can just see plaster workings everywhere. Like this is all some sort of hydraulic workings right through in here, right along Coker Creek. Here's this one. This is what we just looked at also within the terrain roughness index. Right here is mining. This is mining all the way up there. This whole just been dug up. Hard rock workings here probably. These look like quasi, potentially bench placer deposits they're running into there and working out. I absolutely love looking at this stuff if you can't tell. So, So that's the basics of how you pull this in. Now we should, I guess I will pull over the other file just so I can show you how to merge and work with two or more files within QGIS at once too. So I'm going to delete this Hillshade one for now. And then we are going to go over into this, and we are going to pull in the other thing here. So now we have, once again, two discrete files. And if you want to merge these, because if you don't merge them, you'd have to do a Hillshade on the northern one, and then you have to go and do a Hillshade on the southern one. And when you're trying, so this is just two tiles. When you're trying to work with, say, like 9 or 10 or more or something, it gets very cumbersome. So you want to merge the two rasters. So you're going to go up to raster here, down to miscellaneous, and you'll see merge. Same thing as mosaicing in Saga GIS. So for input layers, go over the 3 dots, click that, and you'll want to click the 2 USGS ones here, and you'll merge those, hit run. Takes its little bit of time. And there we go. There they are. Now they are merged. So now you have these two files plus the merged one. So we can click those ones off, and now we have a merged file here. And to do the Hillshade is once again going to be the same way. So raster, analysis, Hillshade. But for this now, you will select the merged file name or whatever you decided to call it there. Z, your exaggeration, once again, will go 5. Altitude of light, 90. Azimuth doesn't matter when your altitude is at 90. Azimuth is where it is on the compass. Altitude is where it is going across. If your altitude's at 90, your azimuth doesn't matter. And I always prefer the altitude of the light at 90. If you want to try and highlight certain ridges and mountainsides differently, that's when you're going to leave like your altitude of the light at 45 and alter your azimuth of the light. But I don't use that. So it's something you can play around with if you want to delve into some of this more. I haven't found it to be incredibly useful. But we'll run that. And there we go. Now they are merged. And I think this is the Hiawassee River, however you say it. I can always look for workings around it because that looks like some workings. There's usually workings in places well outside of what may be the documented mines. It's hard to say sometimes. Some of this you would have to go ground truth to figure out what it is. So you'd have to get out there and actually go look at it to figure out if it is placer. Because some of these larger open areas here kind of look like placer workings. Or it could also just be an artifact of the LiDAR and how it was processed itself. Difficult to say without doing some ground truthing. But that's how you merge two together within QGIS. And once again, you can still use like Google Roads and everything to then show you where everything goes. And so you have an idea of what you're looking at, as well as aerials and stuff. If you need to figure out like, is that a mine pad or is that a house pad? And they're like, oh, that's a house. So that type of stuff helps with that. I think on a next video, since we're kind of running up on over 30 minutes here probably, there's a number of other things I do want to discuss with QGIS in particular. Because there's some other issues and stuff you run into, but also how to generate your own STL files for 3D printing if everybody's interested in that. And then also, sometimes what happens when you pull a couple of these tiles, you'll end up with a mine site or your point of interest like right in between the two, or 4 sometimes. So I'll have to delve into then you mosaic them together, but you don't want that large of an area because it tends to slow things down. so that you mosaic them together to then cut and extract a certain area out. But I think that's going to be done for a later date here. So that's going to wrap up kind of the basics of how you're just going to take the raw light or the DEM data that you can get for a lot of areas within the US and other countries and take it and put it into free GIS programs, Saga GIS and QGIS, and turn them into a usable map that you can use on your computer. For the next video next week, I think I'm going to delve into how to make a proper map on QGIS to then like put it into a PDF format and print out. So you can then take that into the field with you easily. And also go over how to create STL files from the LiDAR data that we're looking at here, so then you could 3D print if you want. So that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you like this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe. We are working on growing the channel and bringing you better and more in-depth content and adventures. So yeah, please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And keep tuning in every week for our weekly YouTube video, usually at Saturday at 5 o'clock. And we are doing daily shorts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. So that's a wrap for us today. We'll see you guys next Saturday.